Alright, we woke up a little early. Checking one thing right now. Uh, Sorry, my brother sent me a message with some statistics that normally I'd be like, yeah, I'll totally share those, it'll be fun, but it deals with some world events that while the statistic is interesting and uninvolved with anything important, it does also bring up a topic that I don't want to chat about on stream. So, yep, I hear a zombie back there, that's fine. Yep, follow me out to the road. Dr. Bubble says they should have a slam fire setting for push. This could. I could go for like an improvised weapon, kind of like in the Project Zomboid, like actually have like an improvised weapon, so effectively like the board on a stick that you could like, you know, use a hammer or whatever to fire off a shotgun shell. Like it'd be horribly, like terrible aim and inefficient by comparison to like an actual shotgun, but you could use a shotgun shell on it. Diane Brinkman says, early morning zombie kill, gotta love it. Hey, lots of friends. I would say it shouldn't kill you, but I could absolutely go for like an improvised weapon of that nature, having a chance of like cutting or lacerating you or scratching you, like whatever. Because it makes sense, like just, you know, taking a board, putting a piece of metal on it with some like sling or something to like slap the back of the bullet to fire it off. OSPIC says, ranged weapons as improvised blunt weapons when? I actually am bothered that when a zombie gets near you, you just kind of go like that with it. I'm like, but I should be allowed to just, you know, grab the gun if I haven't been firing it, grab by the barrel and slap him with the gun. If I have been firing, you know, slap them with the barrel, whatever. Like, not that it'd be good for it, but, you know, it'd be better than nothing. Right, we're here, Hieronymus is got a posture check and a stretch, so I'm going to just adjust in my seat. And the stretches I do on stream, and I'm going to talk through them because I haven't done that yet this stream. So I do what are called median glide stretches. So you have the median nerve, which comes down your arm and it kind of separates out. So it's where all the ligaments from your fingers go in. They go to your carpal tunnel where they meet the median nerve. They come on down here. So all your fingers, those are controlled in muscles in your arms for the most part. They do have muscles up here, but a lot of the work's happening down here like a crane. So the problem is this area is very vulnerable, that if you do stuff with your hands you shouldn't do, like just over exercise it or whatever, so far as like the mouse wheel and whatever, that can become inflamed. It fills up the carpal tunnel, and then you have problems, and that's where carpal tunnel syndrome comes from, is when it gets inflamed and you do damage to that area. So the median nerve glides are about trying to kind of get that loose isn't the word I'm looking for. I usually do say the correct word. It basically, you're getting it stretched out and all that, so it's less likely to become inflamed in the first place, thereby preventing the damage. So what I do is, if I take my arm, so you see the way this is bending, I have my my inner elbow up here. I take my hand and I turn it down until I feel just the teeniest, tiniest stretch right around here. And then you hold it for 30 seconds. You're not trying to like yank your hand back or anything. It's just the moment you feel the ittiest beatiest little stretch, that's where you stop. And you hold it for 30 seconds. All right. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your hand without rotating your arm. So still inner elbow up. You're going to turn it up. Same idea. The moment you feel a stretch, You hold it for 30 seconds. Then you just do the other side. Same deal. And same deal. And there you go. So there are tons and tons. Like, those aren't the only median nerve stretches. They have like dozens of them to deal with like carpal tunnel syndrome, tennis elbow, which I know it has another name. I don't remember what it is. Like all those kind of things. So those type of RSI concerns. I'd highly encourage, if you are at the computer for long hours, or you deal with anything like driving cars, power tools that causes lots of vibrations on your hands on a regular basis, it's worth doing. Because those are all things that will agitate repetitive stress injuries. Or if you're into stuff like tennis or golf or computer gaming, anything like knitting and sewing and all that can also do it if you do a lot of hand knitting and sewing a lot. It's worth doing. But I'll get those push-ups in just a moment. But it's worth doing. They're pretty quick. I will warn you, if you look them up, a lot of them look really ridiculous. Like that you're trying to do like the world's worst Egyptian dance kind of thing. Just silly stuff. But they do all work, and then the idea is they're trying to find very specific spots of those muscles and ligaments and all that they're trying to stretch. And so it's just you have to do all sorts of like weird positions, like tip your head this way, then stretch your arm the other way. That way you're actually targeting that specific spot of your muscle to stretch, which is why there's so many. Anyone who's gone through physical therapy, like for like a knee injury or anything, you're well aware of how physical therapy stretches are. They're a bunch of different stuff that targets like every imaginable bit of your muscle little by little to make sure you're getting all of it. Yeah. But X-Dude's like, you're all stretched now, get on the floor. Cashing in the last 10 push-ups for the night, if I'm not mistaken. So let me get those and I'll be right back. Gotcha. Let's see. So let me document those, because those should be the last 10. They are. Unless I miscounted, which I will not rule out, but usually I miscount low and not high. I can close that, because there's no more coming for that tonight. Okay. Let me catch up in chat. I'm more scared of lower back problems. Yes. And I don't know how to deal with those. Like, I'm sure there's going to be their own type of, like, their equivalent of stretches for lower back problems, but I don't know what those are. So, that'll be something you'd probably want to actually talk with someone who either specializes with back problems or physical therapy people who deal with that stuff. Insane Spork says, I did physical therapy for my spine, and that sucks. I can imagine. Like, and there are some stretches that you do, like those wrist stretches I was just doing a second ago. They're not stretches that hurt, like they're not stretches that like you really have to work at. They're like, these are like just nice chill stretches. Versus like, you know, when you go to stretch your legs, sometimes you have to do that thing where you like fold over and like lean the whole way over. Those stretches suck. But I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do to stay healthy. If you have a therapist and they're like, here is what you need to do to take care of your body, you just gotta suck it up and do it. Unless like actively hurts, and then you want to take to your therapist and go, should this be active pain? And then they'll probably go, active pain? Probably not. Let's try this other stretch. Or maybe they go, yeah, like that is actually going to hurt because that's where your injury. And you know, this is going to be necessary for it to heal right. So this is a bite your lip and go for it. But you know, don't actually bite your lip, because then you also need stitches. That's not helping your cause. Vernon Sun says, do yoga. That's actually, a lot of yoga is kind of the same things that physical therapy kind of gets to, is you're trying to stretch many different parts of your body, and that's most of the core of yoga, is stretching out a whole bunch of different sections of your body very specifically. And then also like holding positions that put weight on different parts of your body to help Fitness. Oh, we're yelling. I was like, I want those zombies out of there so I can kill them, but I'm not willing to go into the trees after them. That's just how you die. And I didn't really want to yell because I didn't clear these backyards yet. But it is what it is. Sometimes you just gotta deal. Did that zombie climb over the fence to my side, then attempt to lunge, but lunged back on the side it started on? That was clearly a bug. Currently dealing with some back problems, lower to mid back, and when they made me stretch, I thought I died. Now, I guess the question was, were they like, okay, these are the stretches you need to do to fix your problem, or they're like, you shouldn't be feeling pain, let's try something else? It's also fine for like, I'd rather not talk about it. Like, that's totally cool. Dying Brain says, like, some zombies are just beyond our understanding. Fair. Gotcha. So even though they were, like, really painful, you were just expected to do them. Yeah. Forearms in pain after those stretches? You're saying your forearms are in pain after you did the median glide stretches? Because if they are, you probably stretch your hand. Like I said, you only stretch them until they feel the teeniest, tiniest little stretch. Like, it is very much, you're not trying to, like, wrench your wrist back or anything. You're just trying to get them just the tiniest bit. This isn't one of those, like, I mean, to be fair, like, all stretching is kind of hitting that point where you're just barely stretching the muscle. You're not, like, this isn't one of those, look at, like, I'm tough guy, I go extra far kind of thing, or tough girl, I go extra far kind of thing, just... It could also be that because you almost never, like, if you're not done them in any regular cadence, I could see that potentially being a thing. Just be careful. Because if you're in, like, physical pain after stretching, it's like, you probably, like, didn't stretch right, or you might have other things you gotta worry about. And again, I am not a doctor, nor am I a physical therapist. If you need the services of a doctor or a physical therapist, perhaps talk to a doctor or a physical therapist. I gotcha, like 1 out of 10. So you're like, mild discomfort. Yeah, that's probably fine. Yep, and generally you want to listen to your body. Well, your body isn't always right. Usually your body's like, hey, I'm going to now inflict pain on you because I don't like it. Usually your body, no, usually your body's pretty good about actually informing you, so. My body informs me it wants beer and Doritos. I mean, like I said, bodies aren't always right. Bodies 100% have evolved, like, basically we evolved to like sugary carbohydrates, lots of protein, you know, like all that stuff. And then just, you know, our availability, all these things exploded, and our body's like, look, it's gonna take me like 10,000 years to adjust to this. So for the meantime, I'm just going to want all of this crap. So if you could give it to me, I don't actually need it, but I want it. because it was evolutionarily advantageous in the past for me to really desire this stuff. "10,000 years of Doritos." The age of Doritos, if you will. Like, there's the Age of Reason, like the Renaissance, the Industrial Age, the Technology Age, and then the Age of Doritos. Which was very, very short age, and then was, you know, followed by the Age of Crusty Keyboard Crumbs. Okay, let's see. Holy hunting knives. Yes, we are at short blade 8, which means most of the time I will 2-shot zombies, with the occasional time I will 3-shot zombies, unless we are fatigued or drowsy, at which point it becomes about 4 hits per zombie. I believe at 10 we will 1-shot most zombies, but sometimes we'll 2-shot. And again, that's not counting penalties. Brainson, but at least for 10,000 years on our back problems from sitting should be fixed. Hopefully. Level 1 Metapod. Excellent username, I like it. Could only imagine the flavors they would come out with in that amount of time. Oh, man. I've yet to have a Dorito flavor that I was like, this one's not a winner in my book. I definitely have my preferences, I gotta think. I usually like, they had a couple of them that were like, they weren't trying to be like, I mean, there was ones that were like, you know, spicy Doritos that I liked a lot. But that just tends to be me, as I almost always go for spicy stuff. I once saw, let's see. I once saw a tweet that said, "We take it for granted today, but a single Dorito has more extreme nacho flavor present than 1400s would have given it the whole lifetime." I don't think that's true. I mean, I guess it is true because that flavor wouldn't exist in, you know, that time. But the point being, the implication is that they didn't have that much when it's a new thing. That'd be like, in the last 20 years, we've had more electric semi-vehicles than we have had in the past 1400 years. Or like, in the last 50 years, we have had more space shuttles than we had since the in the 1200s. Like, yeah, because that's a thing that didn't exist anymore. Daddy. Sweet chili from me. Yeah, I can't remember the flavor because I don't have Doritos very often. Not like any aversion to Doritos. Like when I go to get like subs at some place nearby or that kind of stuff, with like, you get your sub and they're always like, do you want a bag of chips and a soda? It's like, I just want the soda. And that's kind of decisions I made for like trying to be healthier. I like chips. I do want the chips. But no, really the sub's enough. Whatever chemical is used to make that flavor, yeah, probably true. Congratulations, Rual. You figured out the joke. Miss Vic's pickle flavor chips. There's, and I don't know the brands on it, there are some chips that have like the jalapeno flavor, which I'm like, yes. And then there's some types of chips that have the jalapeno flavor, you're like, I want some jalapeno, but man, I wasn't looking to just eat the jalapeno, like straight on. Like, not from a spicy, like, I like the jalapeno flavor, but I also want a little bit of the chip flavor, you know, with that, if you don't mind. Wispeak says, I do all my grocery on foot, no space in my backpack for a 24 can of soda and a bag of chips. Gotcha. Yeah. Yep. Yep. I wish they would have a tangy pickle flavor more often, though. Yeah, I can see for people into pickles. Like, I'm not a big pickle person, but I can absolutely understand it. Like, I get it. Because there's definitely a lot of stuff that, like, I really like this flavor. Like, for me, you know what I want? I want hot picante salsa. I don't want medium picante salsa. I don't want mild picante salsa. I want hot picante salsa. Please, grocery stores, actually have it on your shelves. I don't care if you only have, like, the one row of it. Just let me have at least some to buy. My favorite snack foods are Cheez-It Mix anyways, and like Chex Mix and Cheez-Ups and Worcestershire flavoring. Alpha says, those jalapeno lime ones, I think Ruffles are nasty in my opinion. Jalapeno lime. I don't think I've had jalapeno lime chips before. Yeah, it's like, for me, it's like, you know, the jalapeno flavor, it's like, it's like we can get the chips that are like hint of lime. Cool. All on board. Amazing. Count me in. And then you have the chips that's like, you know, it's not hint of lime, it's like, this chip is lime. I like the flavor of lime. I don't need my tortilla chips tasting like I'm drinking limeade in my chip in like dried powder form. Not that I think that is a thing, but that's the way I feel about some of the jalapeno chips. Like some that's like, it's got that, you know, there's that nice lime or jalapeno taste to it. It's not overpowering, it's excellent. And then there's other ones where it's just like, oh, like, this is seriously, you just, you know, you've given me a different vehicle to supply direct jalapeno to my mouth. Now, this song we're listening to right now, with the voice lines on it, am I wrong, or is this from Star Trek? The vocals. The music, no, but the vocals. Like, is that Kirk talking to Spock? Or Kirk saying one thing, and then Spock, you know, responding? Because my brain keeps screaming it is, and I keep second-guessing myself, but I'm pretty sure it's Captain Kirk talking to Spock and responding. Like, I think it was one of the movies. Okay. Another horde down. That's looking good because we only got a couple of houses there. What is the highest, lowest weight you can gain? So the lowest weight you can have is 35 kilograms. When you hit 35 kilograms in this game, you start dying extremely fast. Like, you are literally starving to death at 35 kilograms. I don't believe there is a cap to the... Or I shouldn't say, I don't believe there's a real cap to it. I think the practicality is, you know, managing to find a way of getting food fast enough to hit a certain amount. Sorry, didn't mean to do that into the mic. Came out of nowhere and I didn't have my hands free. Because you would ultimately get to the point where the time it would take you to acquire stuff to gain weight would be the bottleneck for gaining weight. Oh. We're about to be completely out of food, so it looks like this is our last day for this round. Did I seriously eat all of it? Alright. I mean, I got grape leaves, but those aren't particularly useful. Yeah, I mean, if you prepared, like, honestly, that could even be, if we quote-unquote finish this run, you know, we've killed all the zombies we can find. Like, you know, sure, we'll probably find the rare occasional zombie that wanders in from the woods or whatever. I could see sitting there and just... Nah, I wouldn't dedicate the time, let's be real. I'd have to go, like, every grocery store looking for... Well, all the mail would be gone, because it would be expired by now. I was going to say, we could take the time to collect as much fattening food as possible, and just start eating. There's got to be a limit, because we'd have to look at the code, but there is a process that says, like, as you gain weight, you need more calories to continue to gain weight. So there would be a point that you cannot physically gain more weight, because the amount of calories you'd need to gain weight would be more than you could actually have. Because I'm here, if you watch for a moment. If I go up here and I go to show bars, there's this bar over here that's empty on the right that says calories. So it says our real value of calories is negative 2,200. There's a maximum that's also on it. I don't remember what the maximum, I want to say it's like 3,000 or something like that. Someone would have to look it up. I'm sure someone knows off the top of my head. I don't know what it is. But basically, you could figure out what that maximum is, and you could calculate at what weight would you have to be at the absolute max to maintain that weight, and just accept that. It'd be less than that, it'd be the actual limit. And the reason for that is you would actually have time that you'd have to eat, so you have the animation of eating, and knowing you're going to burn several calories in the process of taking the time to eat your food. And you can't, like, stack above, like, that's the max number of calories. So, like, for example, if I eat an entire tub of mayonnaise in this game, I hit that cap, and there is, like, a multiplier that can go on top of it, but the calories I've consumed are still only, you know, I'll say it's the positive 3,200 that I can't get over. So more calories I eat beyond that don't really go farther, once I get to, like, the double echelon or whatever it is. There could be a triple echelon. I actually don't know what the absolute max is. It's just, to gain weight, there's a, there would be a cap, theoretically, for that. And maybe it is with the, double echelon with that kind of thing. I think the way you'd find out, isn't it, stuff like the bowls of cereal, or not bowls of cereal, just, like, straight up eating cereal and oats is actually, like, the absolute max stuff for gaining weight? Thank you for the follow, Mickey13. But yeah, so someone could actually sit down and figure out what the max weight is just by that. Just figuring out the calorie. The max that bar goes. And then how they think. Because, I'll pull that thing back up in a moment. Basically, the way weight gain and weight loss works in this game is you have that giant bar. And so it's between, like, if you are below a certain amount, you lose weight. If you're between two like the middle amounts, like it's a range, you'll maintain weight, and if you're above the high end, you'll gain weight, and that effectively is a sliding thing that goes up and down, you know, based on, like, your character's current weight. Like it does adjust, which is good because that's actually how it works in real life. The heavier you tend to get, the more it requires, the more calories it requires just to sustain your body. So when you see the people who get like ridiculously way overweight, where they they're bedridden and there has to be medical intervention levels of weight like that is something that an individual is incapable of doing themselves. They need assistance to accomplish that. And that's usually, a family member who, family or friend who is just like, all right, well, let me keep getting you your soda and your pizza again and again. And then just the person eats as much as they like and all that. Yeah, and sugar, like whatever their vice is that they're beyond overindulging in, that's gotten them to that state. But it's someone has to effectively be providing them because they were like actually getting up and going out and getting them, like they couldn't get themselves bedridden. Like someone also ultimately has to be bringing the food to them in their bed. Okay, let's see. Probably the number one caloric food is butter. Let me check. Nope, the highest is pasta at 33,060 or 3,360. Butter is second at 3,200. I thought mayonnaise was super up there. I think we've had this conversation before, and it was like mayonnaise was actually third. My mind just wants to always think it's at the top. Elgo says, but you need to maximize calorie per hunger because you have to cap how much food you can eat. There is that, but I would imagine if you get your because you have our little bars here, so I'm just gonna bring those up. You have your bar here, and so it's like 3,200 or whatever it is, 2,800. I don't know the amount. Whatever is the cap calorie. If you consume calories above that, I don't believe it matters. That would be something someone would have to test and give me information. But I believe that. Telly Valcoon says, I deal with that kind of thing at work more than I like to admit. Oh, people who are effectively enabling people to overeat kind of thing. I'm guessing Totally Valcoon. Yeah, I've seen like documentaries on that, and it hurts to see. Whistlebeak says, not really. The satiation wears off real quick. El Goso. Mayo is okay. Make pasta with fish, cheese, meats, mayo, oils, ultra wide. Artie and Brian's like, oh, you're onto something. Now keep in mind though, you got to take the time to prepare that food. And that's time that you're not forcing food into your gullet. Yeah. Being used to being enabled, and then they end up in our building and we work to fix that. Yeah. Thank you the follow, Wacky West. Yeah, no, there was an entire documentary I saw that was basically for people who had overeaten themselves to the point like they would have to take out, a wall to remove the bed with the person in it to take that whole assembly to the hospital because the person was so badly compromised from the overweight that they couldn't safely remove them from the bed. Like it was a whole thing, and every single one of them, it's like they had, you know, a family friend or a stepdaughter or the person who's delivering their food. Like someone was like bringing the food directly to them, like in their bedroom kind of thing. Those are extreme, extreme, extreme samples. Prepare 4 recipes or so at a time, then freeze the fridge. Make 8 bowls. Yeah. I can see now someone like coming up with like a min-max strategy to do it. One of the problems you run into though isn't pasta. Hey zombies, isn't pasta like limited in the world that once you eat all the pasta, there's no more pasta? Like you can't make pasta. I could be wrong, because I've never looked to see if there's that, but it feels like that's what things that there is a finite. And then like on top, like mayonnaise goes bad, and you know. Valken said a multiplayer. I mean, yeah, if you wanted to retrieve like maximum heft, you could have like a team of people like pulling up fish as fast as possible and just eating it as fast as you can. Oh yeah, that's fair. You could turn the loot respawn to as fast as possible. And just have someone find like a burger place or someplace that has like mayonnaise and just, you know, stockpile. What are the calories in rice in the game? Because I found it didn't seem like I was gaining much weight off the, and this could just be the way I was dealing with it, because I was actually taking the time to put in the pot and make the rice. But I remember one round we did eat, like, the rice is what we're using to fix happiness. And we were just making pot after pot after pot of rice. And I want to say we, like, made, like, the entire 3-kilogram bag of rice or whatever it is. And that's 3 kilograms when dry, not cooked. And it did, like, nothing for our hunger. Like, I was challenging the game. It's like, this makes no sense. Anyone who's eaten rice of any real quantity realize that stuff hits your stomach like lead. You eat, you know... Yeah, the entire bag of rice is 2,880. I mean, that's high. Yeah, but I mean, I took the time to make each and every bowl of rice, you know, by boiling and all that. Like, actually cooking the rice. I mean, you can get way bigger than 3 kilograms of rice in real life. But it's just like the thought of, you know, sitting down, taking 3 kilograms of raw, uncooked rice, and then in a single sitting, one person cooking all of that and then eating all of that rice as one big meal. And going, no, I'm pretty sure you go to the hospital because you've exploded your stomach with how much rice you just ate. Ennis says, fun fact, reheating cooked rice lowers its caloric intake. That doesn't surprise me. I want to say reheating a lot of food will reduce the calorie count. Not meaningfully necessarily, which maybe that's the difference, is the calorie count in rice is meaningfully lowered by recooking. But I mean, you are burning some of the material off and all that. Especially with stuff like meats and that, where, you know, you reheat it, and you're going to lose some of, like, the fat in that. Speak says a 3.36 kilogram bag of rice is 12,100 calories. Yeah, and that was one of the things that when we were looking at game, it's like, this rice is absurd. That we were eating this rice, and it was just... It was doing nothing for our hunger meaningful. You know, by the time we, like, ate an entire pot of the rice for, like, 5 hunger, and then, you know, had to boil more water and do all that stuff, it's like, what is this rice? What is this lie? Have these people never eaten rice before in their life? Because eating, like, 3 kilograms of uncooked rice, like, and cooking it, I don't want to know. I think we figured out, wasn't it like 1.5 or 2 times weight by the time you cooked rice? Isn't that what we figured out when we were doing that stream? So we're like, okay, you're eating like 6 or 7 kilograms of rice. He goes, no, I'm pretty sure if you eat, you know, 6 or 7 kilograms of rice in one sitting, you need medical intervention levels of don't do that. Like, I do not believe, like, the untrained human stomach is capable of handling that sheer volume of rice. Like, maybe with years of training, like speed eaters doing all that, maybe. Or maybe she's just a really messy eater, so she starts with like 6-7 kilograms in rice, but only ends up with like maybe 1 actually gets into her mouth. I mean, if we're going to, like, we're not going to be going into, like, all of the ways that people can, you know, get the process to go faster there and everything. We're just going to assume that she's doing no special technique or anything. She's just eating rice in large quantities. Just sits down at the table, giant bowl of 6 to 7 kilograms of rice with spoon, and just starts shoveling as fast as her heart can. Well, we're drowsy, so I really don't want to fight more, so I'm just going to go... See ya. It does sound delicious. Now, in my mind, it sounds delicious for maybe the first kilogram of rice. The next 4 kinda wane. Artium Prime says, the average human stomach can hold 8 to 9 kilograms of food. Ah, that's interesting. So I guess technically you could, assuming that you were, like, fasting for the day before or something. Eesh. I still would not want to do it. Chopsticks 1 at a time? 1 grain at a time? No. Moriarty says, that is the strangest thing to come into. Burnson, it is the 90s. Maybe the rice packs back then came with toys, maybe lead. I mean, sure. Shoveling rice. We were discussing that the, if I'm not mistaken, the rice packages in Project Zomboid are 3 kilograms uncooked. And you can just sit down and just wolf down. Like, you can prepare it and just wolf down all the rice. Yeah, and Totally Valkyrie's like, and then you wouldn't need to eat for like a day or 2. I don't think you could eat for a day or 2 without being actually sick. I mean, honestly, I think if you ate near the maximum capacity of what your stomach could possibly carry, you would be pretty sick too. Like that would not be happy times. I was saying, plus eating raw rice is dangerous as heck. It'll inflate when it gets wet. Yeah. Arnie Pam says, imagine how bland it would be too. Just plain rice. Absolutely. I think actually, if I recall correctly, that one, when we were making all that rice, we were making rice and we were putting ketchup on it to make us happy. Which, I mean, I personally am like, okay, don't get me wrong, that doesn't sound like the absolute worst thing I've ever heard. but I'm not excited. Like, I hear that, I'm going, all right, maybe I'm judging just a little bit at the moment, the eating habits, but not like really, really judging, just kind of going, would you at least like soy sauce it or something? Maybe some teriyaki? Yeah, Artyom Pride is like, I mean, if you're starving, at least ketchup has flavor. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, in the circumstance of Project Zomboid, like, yeah, you know what? I get it. If you're sitting there and you got a perfectly good tube of ketchup, and you've got a perfectly good bag of rice, you're gonna do what you can to make that rice a little bit more exciting, even if it's only the tiniest bit more exciting. Now, having access to onions or garlic in Project Zomboid gives me anxiety and says, I'm trying to remember, with foraging, couldn't you get green onion? Or like an onion? I thought there was one for foraging. I could be wrong. But there is no garlic. Because there are... No, it was leeks you could get. So not onion, but it's like something like... Oh yeah, wild onion you can get? Yeah. So it's like, don't get me wrong. In this situation, if I'm sitting there eating like just white rice, occasionally with ketchup, and I find myself an onion, I am going to be ecstatic. Ataval-kun goes, without going into details, I can attest, when you're hungry enough, anything is better, even just ketchup. Oh yeah, well absolutely. Like that I get. When, like we've joked about in here, it's like, you know, you'll sit there and you'll cut around the rotten food and stuff to make your dinner and all that. And it's like, yeah, well, this is a survival situation. The standards slide a great deal when you're trying to not starve to death. Like you lower your standards to survive. I mean, yeah, that was we had a conversation is either 1 or 2 streams ago that, you know, we were talking about the fact that you can just put like a bunch of cabbage in a bowl and it makes you happy with nothing else. But, you know, melted ice cream makes you sad, and to me I'm like, man, if I was eating nothing but cabbage for like 6 months and I found a bowl of ice cream that was melted but not had gone bad, like, that would be a boon. I would be beyond excited for that melted ice cream just because it's not cabbage. And then I was like, you know, I do wish that the way the boredom worked in the game is, sure, when stuff starts going stale and all that, make you bored and unhappy. But also go and say, okay, if you're eating the same food again and again, that there would be kind of a level, like, if you eat something too much in a row, that thing would make you bored and unhappy by itself. They'd have to, like, rotate stuff, or if you cook with multiple ingredients. I saw the big group of zombies back there in the corner. You know what? We're actually... How tired are we? We're tired. So we'll kill them on the way out. There's a group of zombies that's down there, like, kind of a medium-sized horde. Yeah, microplastic contamination. I don't know about rice per se, but there's tons and tons of, like, just in water, they're finding microplastic contamination. They're still figuring out all the implications of it. But most of them, it's like, not good. I mean, I don't think you get used to it. I just think you get bored, but you have to survive, so you just keep doing it. Could be wrong. No, Kurgan, I'm like... So, I actually talked about that. My wife actually, when we get ice cream, she likes to let the ice cream soften a little. Not like go full-on melt, but like, not still frozen. I know there's been people in the chat have been like, oh god, no, why? You know, and that's fair. Different preferences. But like, in a survival situation, I'm like, no. If I can get something that's got like the flavor of strawberries or something, count me in. if I'm, sitting here eating just cabbage and salad is like the only thing I eat. Like it is liquid syrup. Now I will say I do agree with people like, like your ice cream frozen, your ice cream thawed, your ice cream thawed and then refrozen? No. 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 I mean, it's fine if you're like, yeah, cabbage. Cool. Cooked cabbage, not a problem. I get it. It's the idea of you only eat cooked cabbage. Like, you wake up tomorrow and you go out to have something to eat and they go, we only serve cabbage. You go, okay. And you try and go to some places like, well, we all, like, there's been, this law, there's been this embargo, there's only cabbage. All other plants are forbidden, and not just forbidden, but like you can't even illegally acquire, any other plant. It's just cabbage. No salt, no spices, no broth, no meats, just cabbage. It doesn't matter how much you love cabbage. It's like, you know what? It doesn't even matter. Like, we can even just swap out the name, like, cabbage for anything else and say you can only eat that for the rest of your life. There's going to be a point that you're like, no, seriously, I want nothing to do with any of this you're talking about. Like, what is this horrible, awful dystopia future you're talking about where I have to eat nothing but, whatever the thing is? No fun. Only cabbage. Alright, so put the axe here. Okay. I was about to be like, don't you have another full one? I don't have room to put more stuff. Oh no. Alright. Time for the electrical stuff to move another cabinet down. Because we filled up another weapon cabinet. Like, that gives you an idea of how our maintenance is going. That, yeah, it's actually one of the reasons I'm not too upset about finding all of these axes. I'm like, you know what? We're gonna need them. When we go for redacted, I'm gonna need lots of axes. $26 katanas on the katana bed. I think we had a bunch of our light bulbs burn out. I should have a counter for the katanas on screen. I mean, maybe. We'll fix up and refuel our generator. Yeah, so don't forget to fix your generators. If you don't fix your generators for long enough, they will eventually potentially explode and catch fire. I believe the cutoff is 50% or less or something like that. That it can be a risk. But really don't let your generators get too far in a state of disrepair. It is a very bad time. 20%? Either way, stay on top of your repairs for generators. Okay, I need to grab a shovel. Rough time saying, yep, repair every time you refuel is a good rule of thumb. On the same night, don't forget to turn the oven off. Yes. Leaving your oven on will make your house burn down. And we're going to have entirely too many potatoes to do anything with. I can also say, if I was stuck eating nothing but cabbage, even broccoli would be like, yes, broccoli, please. Honestly, I'd rather eat broccoli than cabbage. Our broccoli? Our broccoli? No, I don't. I definitely know there are definitely plants that, depending on when you harvest that as what you call it, and, whatever. I don't think broccoli and cabbage are the same thing. I'm gonna take the fish out and we're gonna eat those and just be done with the fish for a minute. Oh, interesting. I did not know that. Yeah, I knew about the kale and Brussels sprouts were the same thing. I didn't realize they were also cauliflower. Interesting. I didn't know that. Dr. Poe said, if you ever need a generator, Rosewood is a great place. Last run I found 14. Yeah. I've I mentioned a few times on the stream that when you go to Rosewood, almost every house there has a garage or a shed. So just like every house has a chance of having a generator in it. Like I've gone just that one street that we went like to that L. So not where we went around the Hoid, but just that L. Just that one L, I had like 6 or 7 generators on that one road. Speak says, speaking of broccoli and cauliflower, got ingredients for a mean soup today. I'm kind of feeling... Hey, Corrupted Cactus dropping in a raid. So give me a moment, I'm going to go ahead and give you a shout out. Playing some Project Zomboid. Excellent. So how are your runs today? Going well. Took some deaths. You know, what's the situation? Hopefully all the deaths are zombies. If not, hopefully the deaths are at least fun and or you learn something. Because the only deaths that are truly unfortunate deaths are the ones where you died and there's nothing to be gained from it. Fun or lessons learned. And Dr. Bubble says, I'll just mark them for later and grab one when I need it, replacing unless you're grinding the skill. I don't need more potatoes. Like, I genuinely don't need more potatoes. Are all the gnomes named David? Yes. They are all David. Hey, how's it going, Corrupted? We dropped your shout out if you didn't already see it. Just check to see how your Project Zomboid went, how your stream went, all that good stuff. I mean, that's also true. Like, I am going to plant more potatoes, but they're probably just going to go to waste. Corrupted Elgos says, Raw last week, I'm going to plant a crap ton of potatoes. I don't need them. Raw today, I do not need more potatoes. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's the total volume of plants that we've grown is kind of the problem. Not so much what plants we've grown. Hey, don't rain until I'm done planting, game. Diamond said, Raw is out here single-handedly ruining my sleep schedule. I'm sorry. Yeah, KamiXD is asking, is there a reason I'm spacing them out? So there are diseases in the game that affect plants. And they can spread to other plants that are neighboring them. But if you spread out your plants, not really a problem. Like, I don't know 100% for a fact one space is enough, but I have not had a problem with them yet. That said, maybe it's I'm just not noticing because I grow so much stuff that I'm just like, one plant died? Don't care. I got 40 other plants giving me food. Angel of the Blood says 100% one space is enough. Cool. I know I caught on Royal with Cheeses, he had his like in a checkerboard pattern. He said that was working out for him as well. Because he was also like, I don't know for a fact if it's one space apart or like what the rules are. And I'm like, but checkerboard seems to work. I'm like, yeah, I put mine one space apart and it works as well. So that'd just be more evidence to support that. So. Yep, I can show the info here in just a moment. I also finish planting real fast so I don't lose track where the stuff is. Yeah, where I'm planting just potatoes. I'm getting to the point of being too lazy to like make fancy salads, so I'm like, you know what? We can just eat potatoes. Potatoes last for like ever in storage, so we'll just have way more potatoes than we need. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm imagining it just does a check to see if there's like whenever it does the check to say, like, does this plant get disease? Okay, so someone wanted to see the info screen for when we look at a plant with 10. So, then we're going to pause for a second. Yeah, so we have like when the last time is watered, what growing phase, it'll tell us exactly how long it is to the next growing phase, what the current growing phase is out of however many, when it was fertilized, when its health is, its disease. So you get all that information. You even get a bunch of the information on mouse over, so I can see that like, when I watered it, when it was last watered, if it's, healthy or whatever. All that good stuff. Um, Angel Blood says it checks each cardinal space for spread. If plant, yes. So then there is no plant. You are safe. Gotcha. So it just says north. Do I see plant? No. Okay. South. Do I see plant? No. Gotcha. Yep. I mean, that's honestly the biggest thing you get from that. Oh, I still have electric scrap. That's the reason we're so overburdened. Carrying a lot of scrap on us. Alright, and this is going to mess with our day a lot because we stayed up basically all night doing nothing but, let's grab the food out of the freezer so the food has a chance to thaw so we can actually eat some of it tomorrow. Oh, we got cabbage that's going to go bad. Oh, right. I was going to grab that fish and cook the fish real fast just to get out of here. You know, this cabbage that's getting ready to go. How often do you need to water the plants if it hasn't rained? I don't know that off the top of my head. They go down gradually. It's not particularly often. Like I'd say, what, once every other week or something like that? These fish are all going to get done at different times. It's going to be pretty annoying, honestly. It is what it is. Gotta hydrate. Gonna do it. Thank you. Probably going to burn some because of how long it's going to take us to loot it. Dr. Wells like, damn, that was hydration if I've ever seen it. Yeah. Getting that thirst. Just scarfing our fish real fast. I don't need to be gaining weight. I'm mostly getting the fish out because the fish weighs a lot. I didn't mean to eat half of it. I meant to eat the whole thing, but here we are. So I'll mix them in with salad to try and like balance out the weight gain once we've eaten a bunch.